Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Shooting. I am Tonya Rodgers here with the Brooklyn traveled Andrew M. Swift. Yay!
The Brooklyn traveled and Brooklyn fatigued.
Okay, so this past weekend, WWE had 4 shows in a row in the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. And we will start with Takeover Brooklyn 3. Since Andrew was in attendance for all 4 shows, we're going to get his perspective on the matches and other things. So, Andrew, take us away.
Oh boy, I mean, it's honestly, I'm still like trying to gather my thoughts, which is why I just watched most of Takeover in the last couple of hours or whatever, because I actually still have not watched the Fatal 4-Way from SummerSlam. So, yeah, it's been quite an experience, and there's nothing quite like a takeover in Brooklyn in wrestling. There's just, I don't know, like every year it's a special place, and this year, admittedly, the crowd was not as good as it had been the last couple of years, but it was still actually turned out to be a pretty good crowd, especially in hindsight, given what would come the next couple of nights. Yeah, it's just nothing quite like it. Opener, Gargano Almas was just red hot. Like, crowd was so hugely behind Gargano, which was just awesome to see. Crowd was just there for him the whole way, just chant after chant after chant after chant of, Johnny wrestling, clap, 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 clap. And that was just so much fun to see. And that match the match he had with Almas was just really good. Almas was really came out with a star performance, I thought. It was really, really impressive as well. And those guys just had great chemistry, and I don't know, it's just kind of like the perfect opener or whatever. And that finish, like, apparently some people have been like fussy or whatever, like, oh, Johnny Gargano lost to a t-shirt. But I tell you what, that's got to be like one of the dumbest takes. And there's been some dumb takes the last couple of days, but that's got to be one of the dumbest wrestling takes I have ever heard, because him getting ready to hit like his one half of the DIY finisher and then getting the t-shirt thrown at him, which was clear, like, was not, when I watched it on the network just now, it was not entirely clear that it was like a DIY shirt, because you couldn't see the writing really very well. But like in the audience, it seemed, at least for me, I like picked up on it immediately. I was like, oh shit. And it's like that was like just one really awesome story beat. And I don't know, it just kind of set the tone and reminded everybody that, like, NXT can be hit or miss sometimes. It can be up or down, but holy shit, when it matters and counts, like, they will absolutely pull you in. And a lot of this, just about this entire show did just that. And what a perfect way to open the weekend. It's honestly, at this point in time, it's my match of the weekend. Again, admittedly, I've not watched the Fatal 4-Way main event from SummerSlam. But yeah, even upon, reviewing, it'll probably be in top 2 or 3, because it was just, I don't know, just such a perfect opener. And it was just such a classic story of a baby face that the crowd wanted to cheer for and did cheer for desperately, bad, and overcome by trickery, and not like by just the manager just like grabbing his leg or tripping him up or whatever, or like climbing on the apron as a distraction, but literally using that emotional story beat of the DIY t-shirt was just absolutely fantastic. And I mean, credit to whoever came up with that, because that was just brilliant professional wrestling. And that was, I don't know, I can't gush about that enough, like, that was so special. I don't know what your thoughts were on that little bit.
Oh,
but
I loved it. I guess because their shirts are like blue, so I kind of already knew like, oh shit, she's throwing a DIY shirt at him, and I think he played it very well. You very rarely do you get like those emotional beats in an actual match.
Yeah.
I very much appreciate it. I loved it. It's keeping it fresh in people's minds because of course Ciampa is going to be out for a considerable amount of time. So I thought it was very creative the way they went about it. Yep.
Yeah, that was really special. I really, really, really like that. I really like Gargano's new theme rather. I think it plays really well in an audience, in a big arena crowd. It's got that like clap, clap, clap beat, and like this rebel heart, and it's just kind of different. It makes you stand out because there are very few like female, vocalists in theme songs, and I can't even necessarily really think of another one for a male wrestler, at least currently in the company. So yeah, that was, I don't know, just everything about it was a hoot. And then they went immediately into the tag team match, the tag team title match, the Authors of Pain and Sanity. And I'll tell you what, I missed like the first, I don't know, 5 minutes or so, 5-6 minutes of this bit, because when I was waiting to see, which I actually discovered on the network, is that I'm actually on camera 2 out of 3 years now. If only I wouldn't have been given a speech last year, I could have made it 3 in a row. But there's a shot of me that I put on my own Twitter of with my arms folded or whatever, because it was after the first match and I was waiting to see what the next match was going to be, to see if I could like run to the bathroom like right quick, and so I kind of missed the opening bit with like Eric Young setting up the table, and Eric Young like at the very last second switching out and becoming the guy in the match instead of Dane. And I missed the brawl before the match or whatever, and it kind of started slow or whatever, and it admittedly was the match that I was kind of least into, because the most interesting most interesting part of any of those acts was on the outside, but admittedly did get involved in a very big way. It turned out, however, that Sanity as de facto faces they got over like big time in that Brooklyn crowd, and say what you will about the rest of the 3 nights, like crowd was crowd was willing on Saturday to get invested, and stay invested and give things that they weren't necessarily like super hyped for going in. Like they would allow them to build and build on them, and get over in the arena. And that's definitely what this tag match happened, because everybody going in was like, I don't know there's no face team, like neither of these acts is really over, like who's blah blah blah. So I thought Alexander Wolf put on a real star-making performance. His offense was great, and just his energy I thought was really impressive. He was really good, and obviously the couple of bits where Nikki Cross got involved were just, you could tell like when it was all kind of breaking down, and then Nikki was hopped on the apron. She had done something earlier in the match. She grabbed Eric Young's legs when he was on the top rope to stop him from getting superplexed or whatever. But when a couple minutes after that, she hopped on the apron because everybody was doing dives and shit, and she's like, "Fuck it, I want to get involved." It's the crowd just sort of at that moment lost its fucking shit. Like, yes, we want to see Nikki do something. So she was clearly, once she got involved, the match all of a sudden hit 12, out of 10. People were just hyped all the way through, and the stare down with Ellering was fun, and then she just kind of dipped out and snuck around the referee and just jumped. And having her get caught by either Akam or Razar or whatever Like that was like a brilliant touch because it's like, oh shit, like, you know, this is about it's almost controversial, you know, because it's about to be like intergender violence here or whatever, from a really, really large man onto a very, very small woman or whatever. And then using the spot where immediately Killian Dane saw it, and you can actually see it on camera too. Like you see his reaction to her getting caught or whatever, and just being like, I got to do something. He just fucking, you know, runs and charges, and they've splashed the guy through the table that had been set up all the way in the beginning. So that was a nice callback to like introduce that table all the way in the beginning and then do nothing with it. And then like they went from that big spot and then pretty much went to the finish very shortly after that. And I don't really think people expected a title change. So, you know, the crowd definitely popped for that because the crowd always pops for title changes. Unless you're a Heart, apparently.
Or Roman Reigns, but go ahead.
Oh, yeah, well, they'll pop, but it'll just be a negative pop. Yeah, so I don't know. That match like way overperformed my expectations. I mean, clearly, because I had like treated it as I didn't like miss anything like truly important or whatever, but you know, I had treated it as partially as a bathroom break. So that they stepped up in a big way, and I thought really overperformed, and that was great to see. It's always great to see people on shows and big spots to kind of like make that leap, as it were, you know, to go from like just a guy, just a random person, and then to becoming, you know, through work or through character beats or whatever, becoming someone that the crowd is interested in seeing, you know, going forward. And I thought Wolf especially did that, just with his energy that he provided or whatever as a de facto like hot tag. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by the match.
Yeah, that's kind of like the reaction that basically everybody like that in, you know, that I was around was saying, like, I didn't expect that to be anything. And I was seeing that on Twitter too. Like
they've gotten a lot better. A lot.
Yeah, they're good. And they're really young too. They are really, really young. And they have like definite size and presence about them. So as long as they keep coming up with new, cool, like tandem offense, you know, they'll be fine. I still don't know what the hell like the gimmick is. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But
I'm gonna tell you, I liked their what they wore for the entrance.
The lizard people masks or whatever.
Beyond the Thunderdome type stuff. I actually liked it. I know it was like weird, but I thought it was kind of cool. I did. So yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see it like on the first go round or whatever. So like when I saw the pictures on Twitter, I was like, the fuck is this shit? I was like, huh? But yeah, that was way over delivered. And that's, you know, that's a story of takeovers, you know, like anytime you'll see a match that you're like, I don't know, you know, I don't know how this is going to go. Like, I'm not that into it. Very often that, you know, if it's I should correct that. Very often, if it's an undercard match, it will over deliver, you know, in a big way and get the crowd invested. So that was great. That was good to see. God, what was even after that? Hideo Itami versus Aleister Black, which was kind of, I don't know. I didn't watch it back, and I didn't really grab me that much, you know, in Barclays or whatever. And it was kind of like crowd was here and there for it a little bit, but not quite entirely, you know, like invested in a big way. And I think the one thing it shows is that the brand strength and loyalty and positive association that NXT has compared to the main roster really comes through in moments like that, because there was no, like, crowd was kind of interested, but not really super into it, but didn't like turn on the show and didn't become like full nihilistic, you know, little shits or whatever. which happened the next 3 nights, kind of. But I thought that was a telling sign in terms of how NXT, even in colder moments, can, because of its positive brand identity and association with the fans it has, and also very importantly the length of the shows. The length of Takeover was again a key factor in the sense that people knew how long they were there for, and it was a limited amount of time, and they weren't gonna necessarily like try to, they wouldn't get bored for too long or whatever, and turn on the show and turn on their other fans and whatever that whole mess was. Moving right along after that. So, oh boy, this was a moment. This was a fucking moment, let me tell you. So they were doing this like NXT reunion gimmick throughout the night or whatever, and I didn't know how they were going to handle it, but it turns out they just basically brought people ringside. They did Corey Graves, was the commentator on the tag match, which is a nice little callback because he is an ex NXT tag team champion. So that was kind of a nice touch that they brought him back for that, and he got a decent pop. They had Nakamura out and Kalisto, and they got Nakamura got a big pop or whatever, and finally before the women's championship match, oh Lord, what a moment. So I was on the floor, and I was row like 5, 6, something like that. I was pretty close, and I was literally the seat on the aisle, and it was clear that they were going to be bringing people literally right past me, because in the section next to me, which was like right in front of the ring, there were 3 open seats at the end in the first row. So it was like, okay, there's some folks are going to come through here or whatever. So I was just like, oh God, who's it going to be? And, so it happened, like the crowd all of a sudden, like between matches, like the people behind us like started, perking up, and like, when a wrestler starts walking through the crowd, people react. They're like, oh shit, or whatever, And so like I was kind of caught by surprise, by that for some reason. I don't know. I was probably on Twitter or some dumb shit. So I'm standing there on the aisle. And I'm just like, and I'm like, oh, what's going on behind me? And I turn, and literally Bayley is a foot away from me. Literally a foot away from me. And I was just like, didn't even have time to react to her. I totally missed Sasha, who was in front of Bayley. Like, I don't know, like I must have like turned and like just not seen her or whatever. So I totally missed Sasha when she walked by. But Bayley was right there, and I was like literally taken aback. I was like, oh shit. I was like, oh my God. And Becky was like actually like 4 or 5 feet behind or whatever. So I had like time to like gather myself or whatever and like react. And I was just like instinctively, the only thing I could do, I just threw up the 4. And I had felt this giant grin on my face. Like, what the fuck is happening? The horsewomen are walking by me right now. So I threw up the 4, and like I'm face to face with Becky essentially or whatever, and I'm just like, I don't know, I said 4 horsewomen or some dumb shit, who knows, or whatever. Literally lock eyes, make eye contact. She winks at me, and I'm just like, oh God, what a cool fucking moment, or whatever. So Becky Lynch was the hero of the night, maybe the hero of the weekend for that little bit, that little exchange that I got to have, which was so fucking cool. It was, I still don't even really truly know how to process it, because it happened so fast and it like caught me by surprise. And like, again, I didn't even see Sasha until she was like 5 feet in front of me. It's just, you can't miss that hair color. So like I was like, oh shit, and then Bayley was there, and then Becky was like just like definitely like eye contact, eye to eye or whatever. And she's like, yep, I see the 4. Like, yeah. And I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. You know, I was marking out so hard. I was throwing DMs all over the place on Twitter, left and right. I think I like was tweeting too in all caps. Like it was just the first like 2 tweets were gibberish, just like like trying to say the 4 horsewomen just walked by me or whatever. And it was just kind of came out as nonsense scramble. So that was so cool. So cool. Honestly, that was probably the coolest moment of the entire weekend. Even cooler than like Sasha winning the title. That was just like, fuck, man. I don't know. That was so fucking cool. It was, it made me feel like, you know, like a little kid, like looking at my heroes, you know, even though I'm older than all of them, you know, whatever. I was just like, oh my God, holy shit. So yeah, so that happened. And then the match, the women's title match was terrific. I really loved how they worked Ember's shoulder injury into it. They did that. They did, you know, Asuka cheating, you know, or whatever. Some really great near falls. Ember is an incredible wrestler, and not just in the sense of like her dynamic offense, which is so like fluid and crisp and innovative and just really gets the crowd into it, but like the way she like sold her shoulder and arm like throughout the match or whatever was really good, even on offense. Like she was throwing strikes with her right and never with her left, pretty much, or whatever. So that was great. And like, I don't know, I really like that match. There were a couple of really big dueling, you know, let's go Asuka, let's go Ember chants, and I was firmly on the side of the challenger for this one. And that was great. I think one thing that didn't really come off on camera necessarily was that when Asuka had like Ember in like a couple of like holds or whatever, she was staring down right at the horsewomen who were seated right there and like clearly taunting them. And like it was never really seen on camera or whatever. You can see like Asuka looking down, but it never shows. Like at one point, like when Asuka like tried to throw on like a cross arm breaker or an arm bar or whatever, like she looked right down at Becky and was like kind of like raising her head, like, you see this, you see what I'm doing or whatever. And like Becky stood up or whatever, and like they had like a, you know, like jawing back and forth a little bit. So that was super cool or whatever. And then like at another point, like I think it was when Asuka was just like kind of like lazily kicking Ember's head or whatever when she was like on the mat. She was like looking down at Bailey like, oh yeah, you know, does this look familiar or some shit or whatever. So that was great. And I thought a really cool additional story beat for like the people who were, you know, there in the audience to see, but it didn't really come across on TV. But yeah, so that was a great match. And the kick out of the Eclipse was crazy. Like people were really popped for that. Like, oh shit, you know? And then like the near fall, I thought that was like the best was after that Ember goes up for it again and Asuka grabs the ref and like holds him in front of her, which I feel like should be a disqualification, but whatever, you know, you go with it because it's a good like story bit. And then, you know, Ember hits crossbody, Asuka rolls through and then grabs the tights for the pin, but the ref sees it and, you know, right before he's about to get hit 3 on the mat, and he's like, no, you know, whatever, blah, blah. And then right after that, Ember hits this beautiful super kick. And at that moment, it was like, oh, fuck, this might be, like, I kind of bought it. Like, I was like, this is the finish. Oh, my God, this is going to be so cool. And Asuka kicked out or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then, I don't know. I was just so good. It was so good. And I know some people have said like Asuka's title reign has kind of not been, you know, it's not quite hit the heights of the horsewoman era, which is true, definitely. But like, I thought she brought it in an incredible way, in a way to get Ember over in a huge way, even though she knew that, you know, she was going over her. I thought like her Asuka's bumping was just insane in this match. I thought like I especially saw it when I just watched it like an hour ago. I was like, oh my God, she was bumping huge for everything. I thought that was terrific. And it was a performance in many ways, reminded me of the Unstoppable match in terms of like the ostensibly heel champion. Asuka's not really a heel. She cheats, but you know, but really only against Ember. But like she's kind of just like the Brock Lesnar force of destruction, you know. And you know, the underdog babyface who like had a past relationship with the champion, you know, try to get over. And the way that the champion in both Brooklyn 3 and the Unstoppable match in 2015 like sold and bumped like a motherfucker for the challenger to get the you know, the babyface challenger over was really, really like struck a chord with me. So like, so the performances of Asuka and Sasha and then Ember and Becky really, you know, it really fit with that narrative of everything that was tying in with the horsewomen at ringside there. And I thought that was a really cool, really, really cool touch. And really, really cool touch to have Ember get the, like, you know, the standing ovation in the ring afterwards as, you know, recognition of her performance. She even got like it wasn't caught on camera, but like after they switched away, she got like a pretty long and extended, like, thank you, Ember, clap, 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 thank you, you know, chant or whatever. So that was so cool. So that was just really great match. Really, really good. I get the feeling I'm going to be watching that match quite a few times because there was just so many little cool things in it. So then, of course, after the match, you know, like the whole time I was like, they're going to walk by me. You know, I'm like, oh shit, here we go. And it's going to be a thing where it's like, they're going to be walking toward me and like, it was, so I was just like, what's going to happen here? I don't know. I'm really nervous. You know, I was like, so Becky was the first out or whatever. And she was like high-fiving fans and like, you know, doing fist bumps or whatever. And again, I threw up the 4 and she pounded my hand or whatever. I was like, that's so cool. She's so cool. What's a really big bummer is that Bayley was like kind of booed, and like fans in my section and like the section that she was in, the section right next to me, were kind of yelling like, you suck, Bayley, or whatever, you know, and like really ragging on her, which was a really big bummer to witness. And it was a lot of like teenage boys and like very young adult men, like, you know, very early 20s and teenagers who were like, oh, Bayley sucks, whatever, blah, blah, you know, it's not any good. And just like being really big dicks about it. So that was really unfortunate. And so like when Bayley walked by, she kind of was stone faced. And I was like, that's a big bummer or whatever to see that, you know, like that was really unfortunate. And then Sasha, some guy in the section that she was sitting in, like as soon as she sat down, started yelling like, Sasha, I want to have your baby. I want to have your baby, like 20 times in a row, and like fans were like, shut up, dude, like sit down or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But like just yelling crass shit at her, you know? And it was like, that's fucking sucks. So when she walked by, like her face, she looked pissed. And I was like, that's such a bum. Like, that's so shitty, you know? So I was really bummed to see, like, you know, my two faves, like, treated like dirt like that, kind of. And I kind of, like, threw up the 4 or whatever, and I was just like, you guys are special, you know, like, saying, like, I was like, thanks, guys. You guys are so special or whatever. But, like, they didn't interact with me at all. But I got the love from Becky, so that was cool. So I don't know. The whole thing was just an insane moment, and I feel like I've been talking for 15 minutes straight, and I'm sorry for that.
That's okay. No, we're getting a live perspective, so I'm very interested to hear it. But I just wanted to say, men are pigs, first of all. Second of all, I'm really happy for Asuka. I mean that, but like it took a full year to build Ember up. And the illusion people have that one tournament is going to build this one somebody up to beat Asuka, I think it's kind of foolhardy. Especially with the comments that Triple H came out with and said pretty much, no, I've told Vince he can't have Asuka. I need her. I don't know when the end's going to come for her title reign, but I just don't think, it did wonders for Ember, but like, who else? Like when the Four Horsemen women were around, it seemed like there still were other women that were able to get a shine, able to get up, and it just doesn't seem the same with Asuka. It's just Asuka and whoever's facing Asuka.
Yeah.
And like, I watch NXT for the women, and I haven't been watching recently because it's like, all I'm thinking is this woman has no chance to beat her. This woman has no chance to beat her. So I think there becomes an issue, just like with on the main roster with the two guys who are going to be facing off for the Universal Championship. It becomes an issue when you build somebody so strong that it's just unbelievable that anyone can beat them. So, like, the match was great. That's my issue with it. I just can't really get that invested, especially now.
Yeah, no, I honestly think at this point, I think now that they've had that unstoppable performance, because we're not for the call-ups, the very strong expectation was that Becky was winning in Brooklyn and beating Sasha for the title or whatever. And I kind of feel like that's, I don't know when it's going to happen, but I still actually, even more now, I feel like it is actually going to be Ember who wins on the third time. So it might even be all the way to Mania, which is an insane title reign. But I don't know. I'll be interested to see where they go from here because they have so much talent coming in, you know?
I cannot.
You may have to. You may have to. Like.
Oh God.
Yeah.
We can. What was after this match? Was it straight to
the men's title? Yeah.
I didn't pay a lick of attention to any of that match.
You were not really alone. I was mostly in the DMs. I was basically in the DMs, just being like, "Oh my God, the horsewomen just walked by me," you know, right? Like,
I love Drew. I'm happy he's the NXT champion, but it's like, then they did the angle with the
Adam Cole,
ROH guys.
Yeah.
And everybody's going crazy for this guy, and all I'm thinking was discount Seth Rollins.
Right? I was like cheap man Shawn Michaels or whatever, you know. Dude is small. That dude is small, and I don't like. People are saying like, "Oh, he's a star."
Tiny.
Yeah, right. People were calling him a star, and I'm like, I didn't get that impression or whatever, you know? Like, I don't know. All these marks in their Bullet Club t-shirts.
Oh, God. That's the whole thing. Somebody said, like, if you went and asked most of those guys who's in the Bullet Club, they would not be able to tell you. It's the ultimate wrestler hipsterdom, where if it's far removed from Vince McMahon in main roster, it's automatically good.
Yeah.
Because Vince doesn't touch it. That's why NXT, like, oh God, if it came out that Vince McMahon made any decisions in NXT, automatically everything they didn't like will be attributed to Vince. Automatically. I'm so sick and tired of this narrative. I am. I really am. It's just the most stupidest, boringest, you have been worked type of bullshit. You're still giving money to Vince.
Yeah.
You can show up in your Bullet Club shirt. You can show up with your beach balls. You can chant whatever you want. You're still making him rich. So who's really the dumbass here? Okay, do we really need to talk more about these guys that I do not
No,
know anything about? Okay,
no, yeah.
let's move on to SummerSlam, which the first pre-show match was The Miz Taraj versus the Hardys and Jason Jordan. And even if you want to give The Miz a win, did you really have to have him pin Jason Jordan?
Did
Like,
he? Is that what happened? I wasn't in
yes,
there. I did. I
yes.
totally missed that. Oh my
Jason
god,
Jordan got pinned, and
that's amazing.
it wasn't a cheat. Miz blind tagged into the match and did the skull crushing finale. 1, 2, 3. It was over. So, and I think people are saying that like Jason Jordan is going heel or whatever, but I mean he should, because as I said when all of this started, he's already got that tag, Vince's favorite. So he gets no shot. He's Vince's favorite. We can't like him. So poor Jason Jordan.
Yeah, he was roundly rejected over the weekend.
I'm
There's
sure
no
he
doubt about
was.
that.
Which is not to say that like he's out there doing great work, because
Right.
most of it has been pretty uninspiring. But like I feel like certain people get chances to find out who they are, and certain people don't, just because the boss likes them, which is weird because like I mean, he's the one that signs their paychecks. He's the one that puts them on TV. You should want Vince to like you. Oh, but then let Vince had showed up at any time during Brooklyn, he would have gotten the biggest pop and motherfuckers bowing to him.
Mm-hmm.
Guaranteed. These people are full of shit. But it was a lot of show. So I may be missing some matches. Okay, Neville faced Tozawa and he won, which didn't make any sense to do the title switch. Like, why even run that match on Raw? Why not just wait and have him beat Tozawa? Like, it made no sense to me. You give Tozawa a 6-day title reign, but whatever. New Day versus the Usos was amazing. It started off slow.
Incredible. Yeah.
It started off slow, but like people were already like, oh well, you know, the match was good the last time. What happened? I'm like, just give them a little time. Xavier Woods has just improved tremendously by leaps and bounds. And like, while everybody's on Big E to get a solo run, I'd rather Xavier get it. I'm telling you, I'm so behind Xavier being like Intercontinental Champion or something. Is ridiculous. He's one of the smartest in-ring workers. He's very exciting to watch. He puts a lot of passion into it. Like, his character comes across when he's wrestling, and it's very hard for some people to do. Like, I love Xavier. Mm-hmm. And I'm also happy that the Usos got their titles back, because they're the Usos. I mean, I could not, like, to me, there's nobody else really that interesting on SmackDown, tag team or otherwise. So the more the Usos get the spotlight, I'm fine with that.
Well, I know how you feel.
So when did you finally show up?
I saw the tag match.
Okay.
I didn't see the cruiserweight, and I didn't see the 6-man or whatever, but I saw the tag title match. I was there for all of that, and that was awesome, and I was losing my shit for that. So, story of my Sunday, I had split off from the friends I was staying with, and I went to meet an old friend who just had a son. So, you know, I was gonna, you know, I went and met him and whatever, and we had some gin and tonics, not the baby, but my friend and I, we had some gin and tonics, and then we kind of crushed two bottles of wine between us, just shooting the shit about the good old days and all that stuff. So I showed up to SummerSlam and I was lit as fuck. Like, holy shit. It was, whew. It was a whole experience. It was a night for sure. So I got there probably like 5-10 minutes before the tag match or whatever. That was like kind of the first thing I saw, and that was awesome. And I was hyped all the way through that match, and I was like, that was great. Like, that was really good stuff. God, I barely even remembered. I barely remembered.
Listen, I had nothing to drink, and I barely remembered the match order.
Okay, so fucking Baron Corbin got clowned.
Oh my gosh, straight disrespected. Like, that was embarrassing. I kind of felt bad for him, and everybody knows I am not a fan of him at all. Yeah. But I was like, okay, guys, this is a bit much. He got beat by one attitude adjustment. One AA. Who get only lower card guys get beat by one attitude adjustment. Come on. Like, that was funny. Cena putting on the hat. Like, Cena was just a fucking clown. Yeah. The whole 2 days he was on TV, just a straight clown. He's so happy that this is no longer his ship to man. So he's like, look, I'm just gonna have fun. I don't give a fuck what y'all do. Throw beach balls, call security guards assholes, it's all whatever. Hey, I'm just on vacation. Right. Between movies,
yeah. Seriously.
This is fun now. Yay! And I know people are kind of pissed off, but I liked his attitude. I really did. It was kind of refreshing, other than super serious. This is my house type of bullshit that unfortunately now Roman has to do. Yeah, John can have fucking fun because it doesn't even fucking matter. He's going to go film another movie. Yeah, but yeah. Clowning Baron Corbin was fun. It was, oh man. And even if you're getting clowned, I feel like if the match had been between anybody else and Baron Corbin, the crowd wouldn't have given a fuck. Mm-hmm. Baron Corbin's heat segments are boring as shit.
Yeah, they really are. Shit. They really are.
And it's just, he's just with gender, he's just doing shit to do it. There is no rhyme or reason. There's no psychology there, and it's just ugh. And you're in the ring with John fucking Cena of all people. Right, yeah. John's banter was top notch. Baron Corbin just kept repeating the same stuff over and over, and I was like, where is this banter? This famous banter that I've always heard of. It was ridiculous, man.
Yeah, the only heat Corbin had the whole weekend was Saturday night. He showed up on the takeover pre-show, whatever, and crowds saw him walking up to the the panel gimmick. And, it was, where's your briefcase? Clap, 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 clap. That was... Yeah. What?
They did it at SummerSlam.
Did they do it at SummerSlam? I don't really remember. Yep. They definitely did it on Tuesday. I know, during when he was the referee for that whole thing. That whole thing.
Oh, yeah, we'll get there.
We'll get there. So that opening match was strange and weird. When the pin happened, it was like, well, okay. And then I think was it the SmackDown Women's Championship after that?
Yeah,
I think that's right. Which had me hopping mad at the end of it. I was fucking fussy as hell. Yeah. I was very upset about the finish to that.
If it had been anybody other than Natty and knowing her situation backstage, I would have been upset as well. Yeah. But I know what kind of business they're in, and I know WWE does these things. Basically, for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, Natty's husband Tyson Kidd was severely injured in a match last year against Samoa Joe, and there's very questionable practices of like what happened after he sustained the injury that WWE could have prevented a lot of the damage that occurred because they didn't take it as serious as it was. Like, he was transported to the hospital in a car. So, and that's just one of the instances. But now he's a producer for the main roster. And this is like a please don't sue us title reign. And as much as I would have liked to see Naomi have a good feud with a good wrestler like Becky or Charlotte, it is what it is at this point, and I can just hope that they don't toss her to the if she gets tossed to the side in favor of Lana, Tamina, Carmella, then I'll be pissed because I don't care about any of those women, and neither does the crowd. Not really.
Yeah, that is definitely true.
So, like, I get it. They're giving her this "please don't sue me" title reign, and it's at Naomi's expense. But as a Naomi fan, I've been through so much more shit with people like calling for her job and saying she's worthless and useless for a while now. That the fact that she's turned such a huge corner and she's a fan favorite and she's like one of the few over women on the SmackDown roster, it gives me a bit hope. And may I just say that coat that she has gives me life, and I want one. That coat is like it's amazing. Like, I was like, where do you get one of those? Because I want it. Like, I would, with no shame, go out wearing that coat, just glowing all over the damn place. Like, but yeah, I can see how, like, first of all, like, Natty is colder than cold. Like,
yeah.
The crowd, it seemed to me, because I wasn't there, but it seemed to me like the crowd cared about Naomi and when she got in the offense, but if Natalya was in control, they were like, oh, what the fuck ever. So, and when she won, it was kind of like the crowd was like, oh, what the fuck ever. What's the next match? You know, or either that or waiting for Carmella to cash in just because, like, cash-ins are kind of exciting, but that didn't happen. So they're like, oh, what's the next thing? And then the next thing was Big Show.
Oh, I tell you, the Naomi shit was like, I was annoyed about that or whatever. So then I was like, all right, I want to wait to see what the next match is, because I was like, all right, I kind of want to take a break now, you know, or whatever. 2 matches into the card. And so, like, I don't remember whose show or whose music was, Big Show or Cass or Enzo or whatever. So I was just like, well, all right, I'm going to the concourse. I'll be back at some point, you know? So I spent like the next 25 minutes on the concourse, like wandering around. I had hopped into an empty beer line and, you know, was drinking that. I took some surreptitious pictures of some random dude who was struggling in a big way, just like sitting on the ground, just drunk as fuck, just struggling as hell. I was like, oh man. I was like, I am thankful that I am not that guy. Like, you know, like, holy shit. He was a fucking mess. So I was just kind of walking around and I was like, I know nothing what happened in this match. Like, literally, I don't know, and I don't frankly care. So,
well, actually, there was a cool spot.
Was there a cool spot?
I thought it was cool. Okay, Enzo's in the cage, right? And when he got in there, my first thought was, seriously, he's so little, he could probably just slip through those bars.
Yeah.
And guess the fuck,
Did he? Oh.
Yes. He stripped down to his boxers and oiled himself up, and he slipped out of the cage. And then when he finally got down into the ring, Big Cass kicked him in the face so fucking hard. And he ate it. Yeah. Another thing I just wanted to comment on, this is me being a female wrestling fan and noticing things. After Cass won the match, he was all sweaty and breathing hard. And I was like, oh, so that's what Carmella sees in him. I was like, ooh, kind of sexy right there, Cass. So, yeah, I was like, yeah, that's what Carmella sees, all right.
Okay.
But it was pretty boring, and Cass, like, Big Show tried, but it's Cass. So, hopefully he watches a lot of tape of early Big Show and Andre the Giant, little Kevin Nash thrown in there just to, while he's out injured, just to, like, you know, get what a giant is, because it's not coming across.
Yeah.
It sucks that he's injured, because, like, when I give wrestlers shit, I can always change my mind if they start improving. And I always want to see, there's nobody that I actively want to see fail. Really. Let me think about that. No, there isn't. Like, no, I had to think, like, is there really anybody? So, like, if they do well, it's, even if I don't like them, it's all the more better for me, because I'm watching a better product. So, but, nah, that wasn't, you were right to skip it.
Yeah.
And then the next match was another burial. Yep. Randy Orton versus Rusev. And Randy's making his way to the ring, and Rusev attacks him. But he's going all around the ring, kicking his ass, and then the ref asks Randy, can he start the match? And Randy's like, yeah. Rusev goes at him, Randy ducks him, RKO, 1, 2, 3. And I was just like, and my immediate thoughts, which I actually tweeted out, was Rusev should ask for his release. He should. And I know some people are like, oh, don't say that. But, like, they're giving him fuck all. He's very talented. He's funny. He has good mic skills. He's a superb wrestler. And they're giving him fuck all to do. And meanwhile, they're pushing fucking Jinder Mahal's a WWE champion. So, if Rusev go anywhere else, he would be one of the top stars and make top money and be just as popular as he is now. Leaving WWE isn't the death knell that it used to be. That's why I say, and as an added bonus, he could take his wife with him.
Yeah, so I missed this entire match because I was still in the concourse. I heard, like, I don't know, Orton's music maybe or whatever, and I was like, nah, pass, hard pass or whatever, you know? So I was just kind of wandering around, like, tweeting at people, just fucking, like, just having a grand old time. I was taking, like, pictures of, like, the back of the screen, so, like, to show, like, yeah, I'm not doing shit right now. Like, I'm just whatever. And I was literally halfway around, like, the entire arena, and, like, I heard the bell, and I was like, okay, whatever. And then I heard the bell again, and Orton's music played again, and I was like, that was too fast. I was like, that was way too fast or whatever. So then I was just, like, chilling there on the concourse or whatever, like, kind of, like, finishing my beer or whatever. And and I don't know if it was I heard the promo gimmick, the hype video. I don't even know if they had a hype video. I have no idea. Or if it was just sky's the limit. But I heard something, and I literally was like, oh, shit, I am nowhere near my seat. I ran through Barclays, on the second level concourse, literally ran. To be fair, thankfully, I was not the only one doing this, which was, like, made me feel good about myself. But I literally sprinted for, like, a good 90 seconds around the fucking concourse to get back to my seat or whatever. You know, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta get back. I gotta fucking run. Like, I was like out of breath. I like came back. The people who like were sitting next to me must have been like, what the hell is this guy doing? First he shows up like super drunk, just like leaves after the second match for like half an hour, and now shows up out of breath entirely. Like, what the fuck? Like, what is going on with this guy or whatever? So I was just like, oh shit. Oh fuck. Like, oh boy. But I made it in time for the Raw Women's Championship match.
Can we just take a sidebar to talk about Sasha's headpiece?
Her gear?
Yeah. I liked it if like somebody bigger was like it swallowed her.
Yeah.
She's so tiny.
She is so tiny, by the way. She's tiny. Shorter than me. Like, she's built at 5'3". She's not 5'3". Like,
she can't be. She cannot be 5'3". She's tiny. Like, she's barely 5 feet. But like I thought it was sweet. I thought that when I immediately saw it, I was like, oh, that's for Charlotte. So yeah. The match though,
there's not a whole lot to it.
No. It's just I hate to harp on Alexa Bliss because I do think Homegirl is a star, but no. her and wrestling is just, she's so limited, and it came through in a big way in this match. I think they should just give, like, if they rematch at a pay-per-view, they should just give them plunder. They should just give them weapons. And I think it'll be much better than just a straight-up wrestling match.
Well, I mean, they also didn't get a whole lot of time.
They did.
Like, and like it never really got going, is what it felt like to me. Then again, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time or whatever, but you know, but it never like hooked me in. Like, you know, there was a dueling chant or two or whatever. You know, I was very aggressively into that, but I don't know. It felt like one of the more subdued Sasha Banks matches that I've like ever seen, really, like on a pay-per-view or like a big Raw or something. And I like the finish, like surprised me, like legitimately surprised me. And like she tapped out, and I was just like, I was just kind of like, what? Like, hold on, like,
yeah,
like what? Like the match is over, and
right,
Sasha won, and like in a very non-dramatic way or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
I was just like, okay. So then I was like processing at that point. I was just like, I literally was like, oh God, what if they bring Carmella out? Like Carmella's switching brands or some shit. I was getting so paranoid. I was like waiting. I was like, are they gonna overturn it? Like, I was just like, there's no way this is actually happening like this, you know? And then she won and like celebrated, and I was just like, and there was just like a certain moment, I don't even know what it was. Like, she was holding up the belt or whatever. And there's just a certain moment, and like a switch went off in me, and I was just like, holy shit. I actually just saw that. In person. Like, and I was just like, I didn't start like crying per se, but I was kind of like broken up. I was like, holy shit. I was just kind of like, my breath was shortened. I was just like taken aback, like kind of in shock, you know? And I was just like, oh my God, like this is so cool or whatever. Holy shit. I just saw Sasha win on pay-per-view and win the fucking title in Barclays, you know? Even if it was like a subdued sort of thing and like fifth on the card or whatever. And, you know, like I don't know, what felt like a 9-minute match, maybe. But yeah, so I was hyped as shit. Like, then I had to like take a breather. So I just like walked to the concourse, And because I just needed to like gather my thoughts, I was just like, holy shit. And I was like becoming more and more emotional, like in the sense of like, oh man, like just really kind of like starting to feel special about like what I had seen, even if it was not like, super hyped or whatever. It's just like, oh, these shit. Like it's been 2 years, since the fucking Brooklyn match. And I don't know. That was kind of a moment, and like getting to see like the Horsewomen the night before, and then having that moment like when Sasha won, I was just like, that was so fucking cool. Like that was so cool. Like, and by this time it was probably about a little bit before 8:30, maybe right around 8:30. And I was just on the concourse and I was like, I just saw Sasha Banks win the title in Barclays at SummerSlam. And I literally just like, I was kind of like talking to myself, like processing it through my head. And I was like, it's 8:30. I got the whole night. I was like, and so I just walked straight out of the fucking arena, which is in hindsight kind of insane. Cause it's like it's like, oh goddamn, like you spend that money or whatever to get in there, and you leave after like 2.5 hours, like counting the pre-show or the bits of the pre-show that I saw. And like, but the way I was just like, I saw what I came to see, like I have seen it. Like I've seen what I came to see. There's really no reason for me to wait like 2.5 more hours to get to the big lads, So I was just like, I'm going. I'm just going to go. And like right before then, like I was walking out and the like person at the door is like, you can't get back in or whatever, like no re-entry. I was like, oh, I know. I was like, I know. And I just walked out and kind of put my hands up and I was just like, Sasha Banks won the fucking title. I announced it to nobody in particular on Flatbush Avenue, just like Sasha won the title. And I was just like fucking walked off. And then I went and like charged my phone for a minute and then went and got dinner and got drinks with friends and just had a whole adventure that happened later in the night. Like it became a whole very strange thing. And that was literally where my SummerSlam experience ended. And I have not seen anything on the card since then. Literally not a single match or even a spot or anything.
You know what? I'm sitting here and I'm trying to think what happened after that. And right. I can only think of 4 more matches that happened after that. Yeah. So, like, you didn't really miss much.
Yeah.
Cesaro is actually the Swiss Superman because he jumped his not during a. You are not gonna play with your goddamn beach ball in a Cesaro match because he went in the crowd. Got like when people saw him going in the crowd, they were like, "What the fuck?" And then when he went and got the beach ball, like he got the biggest pop ever for destroying that motherfucker. Mm-hmm. Cesaro is my hero. Like I fucking love that dude. Like. Thank you. Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose won the tag team championship, which was a cute moment. Shinsuke Nakamura got beat like a geek with one finisher, and like it happened right before the main event, and they went immediately into the main event. I guess just to distract people. AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens was people were saying the match was good, but I didn't pay like a lick. I cannot do it. I can't pay attention to them two wrestling each other. Just not at all. The big lads match was great, but I could have done without the taking Brock out on the stretcher and for him to show up again later. Damn near no selling being put through 2 tables. I definitely could have done without Roman getting pinned. Like seriously. Like Here's the thing. He gets all the fucking hate that John Cena gets as being the top guy, and very little bit of the glory. Like When the Miz was talking about why does John and Roman only get all the moments, and I'm like, what fucking moment? Roman gets WrestleMania moments. That's it. It's literally fucking it. The rest of the year, he gets clowned. Like, Paul Heyman just had to bring up that Brock pinned Roman in the match just so the crowd could get their little pop and their yes on. Like, it is frustrating as a Roman Reigns fan that you are constantly reminded that everybody else hates him. It is fucking irritating and annoying, and he doesn't even get, like, he gets, you know, he's Super Cena, but he doesn't get treated like it. John Cena wouldn't have fucking got pinned in that match. Like, it was just irritating, is all. Very irritating. Especially when you get motherfucking neckbeards who decide they can speak for you and say, oh, real fans our age just don't like him. Suck my non-existent dick. I have been watching wrestling since I was 5 years old. You don't get to speak for me. You don't get to say what the fuck I like. Okay? It's so blatantly obvious to me that he is being used as the reason for all of WWE's failures. And despite all the missteps they have made with him, the motherfucker still has fans. Motherfucker still selling merch like a sumbitch. The fact that he is selling merch at all to be over anyone is, to me, is a fucking success story. Because, like, anybody in this position should fucking fail and fall flat on their face and fucking quit by now. It's going on year 4 of this shit. Turn him heel, please. Like, I was thinking, and I told you I was jealous of you because you got to see something that you really wanted to see from Sasha. Mm-hmm. You got to see her win the title in Brooklyn, of all places. Mm-hmm. The equivalent for me was to be in the audience when Roman Reigns finally turns heel and then finally gets to say on WWE TV to these fans, go suck a dick. You're just mad because I'm better than you and all your women want to fuck me and your kids want to be like me. That would be my equivalent, not him winning any championship or anything like that. And the fact that it's never going to fucking happen, because then who's going to be their fucking scapegoat? Then who gets it? You got to have that scapegoat. It's just frustrating. And like, everybody's so dying. To me, when motherfuckers say Braun Strowman is the guy, that is not giving him praise. That is throwing shade to Roman. And you can say what you want to about it. To me, when you use that phrase, saying anybody else is the guy, you're throwing shade at Roman. That's what you're doing. And I don't know how the fuck his fans are expected to. There's only so much shit you can listen to and fucking take before you fucking snap. And another thing, I am so sick and tired of people saying, well, John Cena doesn't respond. He's a fucking robot. That shit ain't human. Okay? Roman Reigns is giving a fucking human reaction to people calling him shit, which is to say, no, fuck you, you're shit. I'm sick of it. Like, to the point where if he said that he was retiring, I would be happy about it. A part of me would be sad because I never get to see him perform again. But fuck, I've seen him do amazing, great things in a shorter period of time, and I know how fucking good he is. But for him to break down his body for a majority of these assholes who don't fucking appreciate it, your locker room is better because he's in it. Way more people would probably be getting buried if Roman Reigns wasn't the fucking locker room leader? I'm sorry. I just be like, blah! It pisses me off so much. It's so fucking much. The same crowd who sung "Nah Nah Nah," "Hey Hey," "Goodbye" to Brock when he's wheeled out. Oh, he pinned Roman Reigns. Yeah. Pick a fucking emotion, you assholes, and realize when you're being fucking worked.
Yeah, that's kind of that last sentence, like, kind of says it all to me, like, about the the Sunday. I mean, I guess I missed most of the Sunday crowd, so I missed most of that, stuff or whatever. Like, Sasha got booed a little bit, but it was mostly just like dueling chants during that match. But the crowds, I just keep coming back to it, like nihilism. Just like
Andrew, I know you missed this, but like in the main event, when they first started chanting "This is awesome," just guess when?
When Roman did something.
Roman, yes, he speared Brock through the barricade. Yes, when Roman did something, they chanted "This is awesome," but he sucks. Him and John Cena, they both suck.
Oh Lord. Yeah.
But when John Cena dropped the mic and they were about to fight, you could feel the crowd getting hyped. You could feel it. But no, they both suck. They both suck because their lives are perfect, and I want everything that they have.
Yeah. It was very confusing, the segment with Cena and Roman on Monday, because it was a good segment, and like it was a really good standoff, and I kind of like troll Cena or whatever, who is just like, why am I here? like you're just booing me. Like, why do I need to be here? Like, like, what the fuck? I thought that was like his reaction to like the crowd's response to him. I thought was hilarious. Just like I was losing my mind. I was like, Cena. I was like, pop big time. It's like one of the fucking goats is in the ring. I'm gonna get hyped as shit for this. But yeah, you both suck chants, and I was just like, had my head in my hands, like, God fucking damn it, like. And then Miz ended up coming out and cutting like a really awesome promo or whatever, and that was great. But it was, I don't know, the Monday and Tuesday shows were very weird in the sense that like they didn't really feel like much mattered on them, like they had the big lad segment with Braun and Brock to start, which was hot on Raw. That was great. I don't really remember much else of Raw other than like waiting around 2.5 hours for the women's segment to get 5.5 minutes and have no heat, because they're just threw it on at 10:20 for doing, and had nothing basically. It was just like, oh, that was that. And then I think like right after that it was like Bray and Finn were wrestling again or some shit, and I'm like, well, all right. Okay, I've had my cue to leave, and it's so weird because on Raw, I got to Barclays, I don't know, probably like 20 minutes before the show started or whatever, and I got to the ticket gate thing, and the person was trying to scan my ticket, and it wasn't working. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here? I was like, I don't understand, So she was like, oh, go to the like box office or whatever, and they figure it out. I'm like, okay, I don't really care. Like, I was missing, main event or whatever it was. Didn't matter at all, So I was like, well, this is weird. I don't know. And I was like, is it because I was thinking, is it because I still have it up on like StubHub or something, like, or whatever, which is not the case because I had that for my SmackDown tickets and was not affected. And so I was, waiting in line at the for the box office or whatever, and got called up there, and I was like, Oh, the first of all, like the glass, I always have problem hearing people like through the glass, you know, and so I always feel really awkward. I'm like, what? I can't really hear, you know. So I was just like, oh yeah, it didn't work or whatever. My ticket didn't work, whatever, blah blah blah. And she was like, oh, let me see it. So I gave it to her, and she was like, you know, she looked at it and she kind of like typed some shit into the computer or whatever, blah blah blah. And I was just like, what's going on, you know? And she's like, oh, can I see your ID? And I was like, okay. I was like, all right, you know, sure. So I was like, here you go, you know, blah blah blah. And so I, you know, slid it through, and she looked at it or whatever and typed some shit or whatever, blah blah blah. And then like printed out this like new ticket, like actual little like ticket thing. And she, you know, gave me all the shit or whatever, and I was like, oh, we good or whatever? And she's like, yeah, but you're good. And so I was like, okay, whatever. I assuming that it was the same, like for the same seat, you know, which was like the upper deck, because I just bought like a random Raw ticket, like cheapest one available, just to get in the door, kind of, you know, because I wasn't really hyped for it, you know, when I bought the ticket like months ago. And I was walking to the you know, up to the ticket people again, and I looked at it, and it was like ringside seating comp, and I was just like, what the fuck is happening in my life right now? So yeah, so I got a comped floor seat for some reason, which I have no idea. I have literally no idea why I was comped a floor seat, but I was sure enough comped a floor seat. And so I got to experience like Raw, you know, from that. And that was cool. And that kept me like, that kept me hyped as shit for like the first hour and a half of Raw or whatever, just because like, holy shit, what is going on in the world right now? You know, I was just like, you know, again, sliding into DMs like, what the fuck? Like, oh my God, you know, so just, I don't know, just that was insane, just losing it, just like being so hyped and popped, just like, why did I just get a comp ticket? But I got a fucking comp ticket, you know, like, does somebody know who I am? Does somebody a fan of me, you know, like, but like, I don't know, like, no one has said anything, you know, or whatever, but the whole like asking for my ID to like make certain it was me, and then like I was just like, this is weird. What, you know? So I have no idea. But yeah, that was something. And then we got, you know, the Roman Cena stuff was good, and Joe was out there, and that was good. And for the most part, like Raw live can feel like a very long show. Especially like for the crowd. This is not to make any excuses whatsoever, because they were shitty as fuck. But like the crowd that had been in Barclays, most probably at both TakeOver and SummerSlam already. So like already like 10 hours in Barclays in 2 days, you know? I don't know. It's just kind of like fatigued. Like I was feeling fatigued, and I had skipped like 3/4 of SummerSlam, you know? And I don't know. So there was just a moment where like I don't even know when it first happened or whatever, but the beach balls came out, and I was just like, oh, fuck, here we fucking go, you know, because I heard about the Cesaro thing, but I hadn't like seen it or anything. So yeah, so beach balls came out, and the crowd started like rebelling or whatever. There was this guy in the section next to me who was like wearing a full like AJ Styles like gimmick with like the jacket and pants and like gloves, and like this is like a 35-year-old man. Like there's a term in like a soccer fandom or whatever is called a full kit wanker, which is basically like you're wearing the entire uniform of the player, but you're just some wanker in the stands, you know? So like all I could think about, I was like, this full kit wanker in this AJ Styles gimmick, you know? It's just like, and so like he was being annoying because at a certain point, like fans were bored or whatever, and he just kind of like stood up, and then like an AJ Styles chant started. I was like, don't do this or whatever. And then like the section behind me started yelling at people in my section, and people in my section started yelling back. And it was just like, it was just kind of like, God, this sucks. Like the crowd is just like eating itself, you know? And it was just like kind of ruined the experience for me, you know? I mean, because that, you know, it got real bad after like the first hour, in the second hour or whatever, and things were kind of slow a little bit. And then like for the Bray Finn stuff, like the beach balls were out. The crowd was like, you know, fighting, you know, not actually fighting, but like yelling at each other. And I was just like, this is literally like dampening, you know, the night, like literally making the show actively worse.
The crowd was taking interesting. When the crowd makes it about them, they're taking away from the show. Weird, isn't it?
Weird, super weird, right? Yeah, so that was a bummer or whatever. And finally by the end of it, like, or was it Finn and Jason Jordan? That's what it was, right? Okay, yeah. See, like, I don't even remember what was on this show, really. I do remember, like, Elias got a good reaction or whatever, and he was like, he kind of played it well because he was like, you know, now is not the time for, you know, applause or whatever. And so that was fun, and that was fun. It was kind of weird. Like I was expecting at least 1 or 2 debuts or something, or, you know, something like Cena, I guess, is technically a debut kind of, but, you know, everyone kind of knew, you know, that he was going to be there. So it wasn't like a surprise in any way. So that was like, okay. So I thought, like, if they're going to do these, like, at the big 4 pay-per-views, these like 4 straight day gimmicks, you know, if they're going to do that, then you need to like have stuff, and knowing that those crowds that those like super weekends attract, like you gotta load up Raw and SmackDown with like big like title switches, you know, or, you know, debuts, or, you know, surprise returns or something. And I didn't really feel like they did that on Raw, and at a certain point the crowd just kind of like, you know, ate its own tail. Like they just got bored of what they were seeing, and you know, decided to make it about themselves. And it was really annoying to see, because like it's such a bummer to see like all these people like legitimately be excited to be there for the show, and like all the assholes are not a majority or whatever, you know. Like people were booing the beach balls and like people would grab them and like, you know, pop them or like give them the security. And it was just like, I don't know, just like nihilistic, shitty fans who just privileged, entitled assholes who just feel like they're part of the deal. And it's like, you're not part of the deal, you know?
So what you're saying is this isn't a majority, that they don't represent all WWE fans? Wow, what a revelation. So
not all fans. You know?
We shouldn't cater to these assholes? Is that what you're saying? Oh, thank goodness. Because, like,
that would be nice.
To me, it's not worth it to travel. This is the reason why I definitely could have this year saved some money to go to WrestleMania. But I said, why the fuck would I want to do that?
Yeah. I can't imagine like doing a Mania weekend. Like the primary reason Brooklyn works so well for me is because it's, you know, it's not far or whatever, 4 hours by bus, and I have, you know, some of my very closest friends live there. So it's just like that, you know, that works for me. And, you know, if SummerSlam ever goes elsewhere, like they're going back to Brooklyn next year or whatever, so, you know, I'll do TakeOver for sure again, and then maybe some of the other nights. I don't know. Like that's kind of been a revelation about how I didn't really need to do the TV shows on Monday or Tuesday, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, that might be something to think about going forward, but it's just like, I don't know. It's just a bummer because like the best wrestling experience I had in my life and best crowd, like by far was, 2 years ago at Takeover Brooklyn. It was just like, God, that was such a cool moment. And it's like every year I go back and I kind of hope and want and think almost that it's like, oh, they're just going to recapture the magic or whatever. And it's not possible. Like the people that, get thank you Bailey chants get, oh, you fucking suck, Bailey, like the very next year or whatever. And it's like, I know her run hasn't been, particularly, amazing on the main roster or whatever, but like, I don't know. That just.
But they're supposed to be smart. No. She's the same person.
Yeah.
Nothing about Bailey has changed except for her booking.
Yeah.
And who's booking her. So how is it possible that she sucks? Could it be possible her booking sucks? You're supposed to be smart enough to realize this. That's the thing. I don't understand them turning on Bailey. I think that's the stupidest fucking thing. And it's the definition of it's cool to boo Bailey now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's the very definition of it.
Yeah.
Like WrestleMania is going to be in New Orleans. Do you know how quick I could get my ass to New Orleans?
Yeah.
No fucking way I am traveling, spending all that money to travel to New Orleans, go to the show, and I'm going to sit and the crowd's going to make my fucking head hurt before Roman even comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Nah.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick to my house shows where it's people who come there to actually watch the wrestlers and not get themselves over.
Yeah, right. Yeah, people are actually there to enjoy the show. Which is, I don't know, it's such a bummer to like be there and see it. It's just like, God, this fucking sucks. Like these people are just being total dicks with no care whatsoever to like what is going on or, I don't.
I would just like to point out that people are like, well, this is WWE's fault. This didn't happen overnight. I see, when you've been a smart on the internet for as long as I have, you can trace this. This didn't start when they brought Batista back and he won the Royal Rumble. This didn't even start with John Cena. This started in the mid to late 90s. Mm-hmm. First got internet and people started telling all the secrets about wrestling. People got quote unquote smart to the business, and ECW became a thing. This is a lot of leftover ECW bullshit. Real wrestling, hardcore wrestling. I'm a real fan. Bullshit like that. This you could trace the steps probably even further than that. But how pervasive it is and the way the fans behave definitely has its origins in ECW.
Mm-hmm.
And internet smartdom from back then. And it's just fucking people who think they know it all. And I just can't get paying all that money to think you're proving some kind of point. You just look like a jackass. Leave the show if you're bored.
Right?
It's not impossible.
Follow my model. If you don't, just fucking go.
Get up and leave. That sends a much bigger, clearer picture than. And I don't care about cheers and boos because that's all in the name of it. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't even care about chants. But bringing objects.
Yeah.
Or standing up to do the wave, doing things specifically to distract from other people who might actually be enjoying the show is fucked up. Everything on a wrestling show is not for you, nor should it be. You are like I'm. Everybody should hear Tyler Durden's speech in Fight Club where he's like, "You're not special." Pretty much. You are just one of the cogs in the fucking wheel. Nothing about you is unique. Motherfuckers really need to hear that shit. Because it's too many motherfucking participation awards and motherfuckers who kissed their boo-boos when they were little too way until they were like 12 or something. Motherfucking coddled ass babies who think it's really cool to pitch a bitch fit when you don't get what you want. Well, guess I am a black woman watching this shit. Do you know how rare it is that I actually get what I fucking want out of this business? You don't see me talking about, let's hijack the show if they don't listen to me. No, let's watch something else.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Let's touch up on SmackDown before we get out of here. Bobby Roode as a face, yay or nay?
I mean, it worked last night in a big way. I like the theme is always going to be over in like a huge way. So I think, as long as they don't book him to, be like an underdog babyface kind of guy, like I legitimately think it can work. He's got like good charisma and presence about him. Like I know he's not like the most entertaining or exciting like worker in the world by any means, but I think he's a smart guy, and I think he can make it work. I don't think he's going to be necessarily like a world champ or whatever. Then again, Jinder Mahal is the world champ, so anybody can be world champ. But yeah, I think it worked. It was kind of a surprise. Like I did not know he was coming up, to the main roster. I didn't know anything like that. So when that first like piano note hit, I was like, oh shit, like that's, this is a cool moment, because they're like, I was getting the SmackDown show was kind of great because the Owen style stuff is like, whatever, blah, 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 but then like Owen's approaching Sammy and like kind of sincerely, like not even like being sarcastic, but being kind of like sincere. I feel like that was the very first beginnings of the Kevin Owens babyface turn. The very, 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 very first. It may not be for another 6, 8, 10 months, but that moment where he went up to Sammy and he's just like, we've had battles. We've had so many battles, but I need somebody who can call it down the line. I need like an honest person, and I know you will do that or whatever. And like, you could say, like, maybe to others it came across like disingenuous, but to me it felt extremely sincere. And I was just I was losing my shit. I was like, oh my God, this is like Andrew fan service shit right here. Like having Sami Zayn, have a legit story beat going all of a sudden, So that was great. I really liked it. And it makes perfect sense for Sami to be like, why the fuck would I do this? Like you have not ever proven yourself to have done, anything in the last 2.5 years or whatever, other than be entirely shitty as fuck. I guess almost 3 years. 3 years in December it'll be since Owen's debut at our Evolution. So that was great. I really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed English coming out was fun because that was cool. Like I kind of really dig that guy, and then Rude, and that was fun. And match went too long, but that was got to fill time somehow, I guess. But
so, do you think that they're going to have Jinder face Nakamura again and have Nakamura lose again?
I mean, I honestly couldn't give a fuck. I really don't know. Like, I have no idea. I think there's because there's interference at SummerSlam or whatever, right? So they did the handicap match last night, which was fine. It was not a whole lot of. I mean, like the Singh brothers bumped, but it was okay. But they'll probably do Nakamura again. I don't know. I don't know what the hell they're doing with the WWE title. So it's, utterly beyond me what the plan is on that front. Yeah.
And then they had Carmella tag with Natty.
Yeah.
And it seems like the focus is just going to be on Carmella and Natty now.
Is she going to cash in? Yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna cash in on Nettie. Despite their best efforts, Carmella is still not over.
Mm-mm.
James Ellsworth is over, and
Mm-hmm.
he's not helping her. So that was a question I posed. Like, what is the point of Ellsworth being with her? He's not getting her over
Yeah, his heat is not translating to her heat
at all. So it's just like, okay.
Yeah,
Ugh.
so that tag match was, again, the beach balls came out or whatever, and I was just like, it's a super bummer to like see the crowd, start to get, take shit into their own hands, and then to watch the reactions of the performers, because like, it's not like they'll stare for like a long time, but they'll like they'll see what's going on, and it's like that's got to feel like shit. And I was really annoyed to see that, for that tag match. Like that really like legitimately kind of pissed me off. Like I was super excited to see like Becky and Naomi's entrance and stuff, and that was super cool. But I don't know. And then just it's like those other fans just like kind of took it away, took away like the good feelings and good vibes that some of my favorite performers coming out.
Did they do it for the main event?
No, not really.
Why not?
There was briefly a there was like throughout basically after the turn of the hour, after 9:00, throughout every segment there was at least one beach ball or two coming out at random times. Like they were all over the place. I don't know how they were, but they were. But yeah, during the main event, actually, there was a moment where like somebody started a beach ball or throwing a beach ball out or whatever, and this one guy who was seated near me was like, AJ Styles is in the fucking ring and you're playing with a beach ball or some shit. And it's like, I get what he's saying, but it's also kind of saying that it's okay to do it with other wrestlers, which is not true. But like the point is that even AJ Styles, like these assholes would still get up in their own ass,
Yeah.
So, and that was before like the weird booking of that whole match came out, which was again very strange, very bizarre.
Yeah, right. Like they had Baron Corbin, then Shane got involved with his refereeing, and then he just threw his shirt at Shane and left. And
I mean, because Shane literally stopped a pin from happening.
I mean,
after the low blow.
But yeah. But see, I kind of don't blame him because it was a low blow that happened, and Corbin didn't see it, and I don't know. It's just, hopefully that this AJ and KO stuff is over, so AJ can go do something I want to see. Cause I'm so sick and tired of this.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah. No, seriously. It's been a very strange feud, and I don't know, it's weird. The crowd for like the first hour was like much more like the takeover crowd, and like much more positive, and way hotter for shit, and like just. But then, like, I don't know, it was like turn of the hour. I don't even know what it was, but something changed all of a sudden, and people just took matters into their own hands. And even on like a 2-hour show, like the show did not feel long at all, and it's not like it was a particularly amazing episode of SmackDown. I was enjoyed by it, but I wasn't, blown away or anything. But it's just bizarre. But like by the fourth night, by SmackDown, like those beach balls or whatever, like were getting more and more booed. Like more and more people were turning on those fans, which is good to like, because those other fans are shitty. But then that also becomes a thing, and it's like the fans start yelling at each other, and it just kind of, it snowballs, and that's not fun either. So that sucks. I don't know. It's just a whole mess when you get those four nights in a row, because who are the people who go to a big city to go see 4 wrestling shows in a row, like the
hardcore fan.
most hardcore of the hardcore or whatever, and a lot of and like all and a huge amount of the the hardcore young adult males are just utter shitheads. Like they're just shitty people. And there's not really any way getting around that. I don't know. Like it's an issue, and I kind of feel like the 4 nights gimmick is ultimately gonna backfire, because I'll tell you for sure, like Raw and SmackDown definitely had a number of sections like taped off and like covered up. They were nowhere near to selling out Barclays either of those nights. I think even for like SummerSlam there was some stuff that was like taped off or whatever, but yeah, I don't know. Like it's not like they're doing gangbusters business by any means, and it feels like the fans, trying to make themselves the star really is a big bummer, and it's not good business, because it kind of makes people not want to go, Yeah. And that's the exact opposite of how a fan should feel like after a big weekend of wrestling like this. You should be hyped for shit going forward. And I mean, partially for the 2 TV shows, that's kind of on WWE, because they didn't really like lay groundwork for anything really. It just kind of seemed like they were just like putting shows on just to put shows on.
The only thing they laid groundwork for was Braun and
Brock, yeah. Which yes,
right. Yeah, if people can cream their shorts for it, but I'm like, no sale city.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I could watch like Godzilla versus King Kong if I want to see unrealistic beasts beating on each other.
Yeah.
Like, sorry. Not sorry. But yeah. It is, it does. And I know Chris, who, shout out to Chris. He's from New York, but he said the reason why he doesn't go to Brooklyn shows anymore is because he's disgusted by the crowd. So
yeah, and it's true, and it's such a big bummer, because again, like I said before, like Brooklyn 2015 was such a special moment. But that's kind of, that's the thing about special moments. Like they're special moments, There's a lot of shit out there. There's a lot of like shit that WWE puts out that fans do or whatever. So, hold on to those very special moments when you get them, which is kind of like the reaction I had when Sasha won the title. I was like, I have seen what I needed to see, and like people easily be like, this fucking idiot like left, but missed most of the show. And it's like,
you got what you paid for.
Find your special moments and hold on to them for, as tight as you can, because God knows there are not all that many of them.
Yeah, it's like WWE is not attracting different kind of fans, and the fans that they are attracting create an environment such that other people don't want to be among them. So it's like a double-edged sword in that regard.
Yeah. Why do we always end on like a downer? Like, God,
I don't know. What
does always happen?
See, I guess we'll get to story time next.
Yeah, story time. Story time was me fucking having the horsewoman walk by. That was story time. That was the weirdest story time in life.
But like, yeah, and overall I was entertained, but like my biggest takeaway was like Jackass is only for the most part attend these big shows and take over, and that doesn't give me any reason to like travel and go. And this like maybe a year or so ago, was actually on my bucket list to either go to a WrestleMania or a SummerSlam.
Mhm.
Then I get into a position where I might be able to do that, and I don't want to because I
Right,
don't
yeah.
want to deal with that. So it's just like it's a bummer. There's no other way you can put it. And I feel like from the wrestling fans that don't do that, we are not the problem. It's these other assholes and elements of WWE that like they they're perfectly fine milking these people for
Absolutely
all the
encourage.
money. So a part of them feels like they have to enable this type of behavior. Oh, any reaction is a good reaction, and tweeting about beach balls and shit. But you can see from a lot of the talent that it fucking irritates them. Finn Balor tweeted a picture of himself as a beach ball. That was not like saying, "Hey guys, keep playing with the beach balls." It was like, "Do you not fucking see me here?" You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So if it's coming from somebody like Finn, who like I've never seen him throw shade at fans at all. It's an issue, it's a problem, and it's a bigger problem than people want to make it out to be. Some of these people aren't going to be happy no matter what you do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's just finding ways to minimize the number of those people by, I don't know, any means necessary, I guess. It's funny that you mentioned the Finn tweet because I don't know when it was. There's sometime over the last couple of days, but somebody retweeted a tweet from last year from Seth Rollins about you disappointed me, Brooklyn, or whatever. And it's like, in hindsight.
Right. I'm so sorry.
In hindsight.
I got on you. I'm so sorry. He was right.
Right? Like, fuck, Seth was right. We were wrong as shit about that one, huh?
As fuck on that one. And I will apologize immensely to Seth Rollins. You were right. Brooklyn let y'all down year after year. And y'all need to convince Vince to go take y'all business elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, so
all right.
Let's get on out of here. And again, like I said, hold on to your special moments. And whenever you're feeling down or blue, just go and give yourself a hug.
Bye-bye.